time, I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Danville Board of Education. This is our September meeting. It's a special meeting because we had to change the date from Monday to today. So we will accept a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor of the motion stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have reports and presentations, board member comments. Any comments on board members?
No.
I'll just explain, Tim Montgomery and Troy McCown were not able to be here tonight for various reasons, but we will move on without them. We will start with the superintendent's report.
Gotcha. One of the things we've talked about is establishing topics for our board meetings and presentations. So I'm excited that Christy Short will be here this evening to talk about the work of the Youth Services Center. I do have a outline of potential topics for us to move forward. Is now a good time for us to do that, or should we save that for another option within the agenda?
You can, it's
Right,
part of
sure.
your report, you can go ahead and
Okay.
share that, yeah.
Fair enough. What we've tried to do is start to delineate how we work with some of our board topics. And want to be able to identify by month a key feature of Danville Independent Schools. And what you see before you, and for those of you who can't see it, it's a list of months and a topic right next to it, is the topics that are assigned. So for example, last meeting we've had Brian go over talk about the status of technology in our district. We've got Christy Short again from the Youth Services Center, and tried to identify key subjects that we'd like to have as part of our board conversation. There are a few empty dates there as well, knowing that with changes in board and so forth, there might be some of the things that we want to fill in, or maybe there's some topics that you don't see listed that you would like to see as part of the conversation. It gives us a way of starting to outline the kinds of things that we'll make sure are part of each conversation. The key as well is the host, because this will be an opportunity for the school that hosts to also have a few minutes of our agenda. So that, and this was just presented now, so we're not expecting Leo to be on the spot to talk about Hogsett. But for example, being at our next meeting, Greg will be there to talk about early childhood education, and Bate Middle School will also have a block of time to be able to talk about things going on at Bate at the same time. So if there are in fact other topics that you would like to see in different ways, we can work through those. That's why it's listed as tentative. You do see arts and humanities listed twice, but while Jane continues to give us the written reports on a regular basis, it's a way to make sure that that remains at the forefront of the work of the board as a priority. On the flip side, we've identified potential work session topics. Those things that require a little more investigation and questions that may not ever be actionable, but just need a certain level of focus. And so you see, these are samples as I start to consider as we map out what else would be. We'll talk about the need for alternative education, and we've established a committee for that. That would then come back to a work session for conversation. Things like school safety, conflict readiness. When the CDIP and our comprehensive district improvement plan comes forward, that would be a work session topic, just to kind of help show where that would fit. And then the board has also asked about what the role will be in working with SBDMs. There's a longer description of this, but what we would like to do is create a work session by which all the SBDMs would be present. Each board member would be assigned in that session an SBDM and be given an interview protocol to be able to quiz the SBDM on all things about their school, governance, policies, and how things work. And then I would facilitate a conversation and the debrief of that as board members would share out, hi, I'm a board member and I've got Bate Middle School and here's things that we are in response to questions. And likely through that we're going to see a series of common threads, important matters, and things that help advance all of our work collectively. So it'd be more of a group conversation regarding site-based management and its current role in the district. So I'll put this before you. I know that we want to get some sort of schedule to start working on, and we can start discussing more as it will unfold.
That's great, thank you.
Sure. Meanwhile, our schools are in the midst of their first round of map testing. And after the first day glitch, because you can't do large-scale testing in any district without a glitch, which luckily was not our fault, which we were always pleased to announce too, that there was the vendor forgot to send us a patch that we needed for things to run. But as soon as we ran it, we have not had any problems in any of our schools at any point in time. And technologically speaking, that's the huge, huge success for that to work. So soon teachers will have that data. As you probably have heard, announcements from overall performance data is going to be released in its embargoed form on October 1st, to be released publicly on October 3rd. We will be discussing the preliminary pre-embargo draft, kind of best guess data that we've got, numbers, on Friday the 26th. And I'll be sending an email out to all staff on tomorrow, inviting them to that session on Friday morning, and board members as well are included in that opportunity to come hear that discussion. And then that information, even in that session, will still remain under the embargo umbrella until the 3rd. So lots going on as we piece those together. PGS, the new performance evaluation system, is something we're all still getting used to in the same format. And that would be my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Lewis? No. Thank you. Okay, celebrations of excellence. I understand they've been rescheduled for October.
Student wasn't able to make it, right?
Okay. And now we get down to the meeting report. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good evening, and again, my name is Christy Short. I'm the director of the Beacon Youth Services Center that covers Bate Middle and Danville High School. So tonight I just wanted to share some information with you all regarding just some of our services and programs that we've provided this past year. So if it's okay, I'd like to pass out our annual report from this past academic school year. Thank you. Attached with that annual report is also just some pictures of some events and programs that we've provided. And I would like to clarify, for those of you that may not know, the Youth Services Center is different from and separate from the Family Resource Center. I know a lot of times we're called FRISC, Family Resource Center. We are separate. So the main difference is that the Youth Services Center covers middle and high. The Family Resource covers elementary. And we operate under different budgets, and we have different components that we cover. So just to go over some of the information, well, the first thing is we're staffed, the Youth Services Center, with one full-time director, which is myself, and two very part-time liaisons. And the numbers from this report are actually from staff that we had. Our Bate liaison was a 2-hour position at 180 days, and our high school liaison was 4 hours at 190 days, and then myself, which is full-time, 8 hours, 240. So we provided a whole lot of services. If you just want to look over that, some of the things that I'm very proud of that we do are the backpack food program. Last year, on the second page, you'll see that we did 592 home visits just for the backpack weekend food box program alone. In addition to that, we did 337 additional home visits for the high school and 160 home visits for the middle school. Regarding some of our funding, we had a budget of $76,820 from our actual grant. We had, which is our FRISC grant, we had a little over $2,000 in in-kind donations, which would include things like clothing, hygiene products, school supplies, things of that nature. Also, something I'm very proud of is our Happy Feet shoe giveaway, which is about $7,200. So we actually gave away 120 pairs of shoes valued at $60 a piece to our middle and high school, and that doesn't include our elementaries. So we're providing a lot of great services for our students and families here at Danville High School. And regarding the pictures, these are just some of the things. We had our back to school fair during the summer. We gave away over 250 backpacks filled with school supplies, brand new backpacks for our students. During April, we sponsor what's called Blue Ribbons for Kids Child Abuse Prevention Month. That is held out on the courthouse lawn. That's a community event, just raising awareness for child abuse prevention. We always have a good turnout. This past April, it was raining and we didn't think we would, but we did. We were very, very impressed with the community. Again, here's our Happy Feet shoe giveaway. You can see all those boxes of shoes, and just to see the kids' faces, it's really priceless. Another program that we sponsor is called Relatives as Parents, also known as the Grandparent Support Group. We have this monthly, once a month, the first Thursday of the month at 5 o'clock at the American Red Cross. We have guest speakers come in and talk to our grandparents that are raising their grandchildren. It's also open to any aunt, uncle, cousin, any relative that's raising a child that was not naturally born to them. And this is a community-wide service that we offer not only to Danville schools, but to anyone in the county. We had a community-wide baby resource fair, which was our first fair that we had this past spring, and we had over 200 people in attendance. We had lots of giveaways. We had guest speakers from, we had a doctor from UK to talk about baby safety and prenatal care. So hopefully you'll enjoy some of these things that we always enjoy providing to our students and families.
I learned so much. I did not know you did all of those things.
And more. This is a snapshot. But yeah, we provide a lot of services to our families, and we're very, very proud of that. And again, we do that just with one full-time person and 2 very part-time people. Right now, we have 20 families at Bate and the high school that we give the weekend food boxes to. We have 40 people on a waiting list that have requested the food. I have a meeting next week, actually on Wednesday, with a local church that has hopefully stepped up and said that they're going to provide those extra 40 boxes, and that's per week for the whole year. So I'm trying to figure out manpower on how we're going to get those delivered, because we don't want to give them in a backpack to our students, because number one, sometimes we won't get the backpacks back. Number two, if we get them back, it might not be a good hygiene situation. So we don't want a child to feel embarrassed or anything like that. So we actually deliver them. And my part-time staff person at Bate, she and her husband actually volunteer their time on Saturdays to do that.
So do you do a lot of networking to get these in-kind donations? Where did those come from? That's a lot of money.
Yes, mostly churches and just private individuals. We don't do fundraising per se. It's just a good networking. We go to what's called UHS, United Human Services meeting monthly, and we get the word out there. And we're so proud of our Danville community. Most people will step up and serve,
So Chrissy, can you talk a little bit just about how you get the word out in the schools to students, to others? Because I know that you have to battle a little bit of a stigma of accepting things like this, or being, as you said, for the backpacks and that sort of thing, kids feel a little bit embarrassed. But tell me how you deal with that, and then just how you get the word out.
to the students
To
or
the students
families.
or the families.
Usually it's word of mouth. We'll usually make announcements, and I do reiterate to the students, everything that comes through our doors is confidential. We want to meet them where they are. A lot of times I'll go out and do home visits to the families if a teacher gives me a referral, because I'm not in the classrooms, I don't get to see the kids a lot, but Generally, most of our referrals are made by the teacher, cafeteria staff, custodians, the people that see the kids day in and day out and say, hey, you know, I think they might have a need. So I just usually call them in and say, you know, it's going to be confidential and we're here to serve your needs. So
you don't feel like there are people who kind of slip through the cracks because they don't know that this is available to them?
well, we've started something this year, well actually this past year, where the 8th graders from Bait will actually come and tour as part of the transition program. They'll come and tour the Beacon, and I give them my 15-minute spiel of these are some of the services we provide, so we can hopefully hit every single 8th grader as they're coming into the freshman class at the high school. In addition to that, I send out like just informational letter in the registration packets to the parents at the beginning of each year, and then in that informational flyer, I'll put, we, you know, can provide shoes, we do, like free vision screenings that are absolutely free. You can get free glasses, and before this year, I would actually transport the students there. That's a barrier we're gonna have to address at some point in getting the kids to the appointments. But, so it goes home in a flyer at the beginning of the year. And again, we just try to reiterate that everything's confidential. So hopefully parents are reading those, hopefully they're seeing, and word of mouth, because we're on Facebook, Twitter, with our services. So.
Well, it's amazing, and I know the need is even greater than what you're able to serve, but I mean, you do so much good work, and I hope that you feel supported and appreciated for that.
Thank you.
Because it's vital. And where did all these shoes come from? I can't believe all these shoe boxes.
Yes, and from Shoe Carnival.
Yeah.
Shoe Carnival makes that donation, and they actually get measured in May. We measure every single student to make sure that the shoe will fit, and then we get the shoes in August, so they'll be their new back-to-school shoes. Yes,
That's
so,
amazing.
yes, and again, that's just the middle and high school numbers. We serve a lot, well, Anna's Resource Center served a lot in the elementary.
And they give you a discount on the shoes at Shoe Carnival, or they give them?
They're free.
So where does this funding come in that you need?
It's called Happy Feet, and Lisa Burke from here in Danville, she is the coordinator of Happy Feet, and we just partnered together, and she will do fundraisers throughout the year for Happy Feet, but it's absolutely no cost to us whatsoever.
So what's the 7,200 that I see on the budget?
That's 122 pairs of shoes times $60 a pair. I hope that equals out 72. So, is that right? Yeah.
So Shoe Carnival isn't donating them?
They do donate a portion. I'm not sure, I can't tell you exactly, you know, what their agreement is, but they do donate a portion. And then I'm not sure where the funds go from Happy Feet.
Okay.
So, like I said, our students are getting a $60 pair of shoes for free. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, thank you again for all your hard work, though.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you very much. Okay.
It is important to note that when we've got 20 families that we're delivering meals to on a weekly basis, with 40 on the waiting list, that this may become something that we need to consider as far as how we make sure that those families have access to get those sorts of resources in the matter that we've already got folks volunteering, we're either getting a bunch more volunteers or our own little UPS hub door.
Well, on that note, if we had a pickup spot, would it be difficult for those families to get there to pick them up? So they kind of need to be
Yes.
delivered?
For a majority, because transportation is a huge issue anyway. Whether it be that they just don't have cars, they don't have their license, or perhaps they might have a criminal charge on their record that would prevent them from, yes.
Okay.
So, transportation all the way around, for like getting our students to, like I said, their medical appointments, social services, to go apply for any type of government assistance. It is a huge barrier for our families. And up until the beginning of this year, we did it. Our staff did. So that's another challenge we'll have to address this year. So
The cabinet has made some new recommendations regarding transportation. Joey and I have been looking into with our insurance agents as well to see how we can be able to support our staff in their transportation, whether it's at the resource center or even a teacher that's taking a kid home after school. It's been a new one for us to manage.
Okay. We will continue the conversation. Okay. Anything else about this? We'll move to the personnel report. Any questions for Dr. Look regarding the personnel report?
No.
Okay. Being none, we will move on to reserve for the public. Is there anyone here who would like to address the board? Okay. Moving on to the minutes of the previous meetings. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve of the July 21st Finance Corporation minutes, the August 18th tax hearing minutes, and the August 11th and August 18th, 2014 board meeting minutes as submitted.
Second. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next is the finance report. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the financial report as submitted.
Second. Any questions for Ms. Cannon? Comments by Ms. Cannon?
I have just a few comments, please. I do want to review the financial statement and the cash balance of our individual funds, and just point out in the comparisons from the current year to the prior year. If you look at the overall total of $6.6 million this year, 4.7 from last year, that is not just an increase to just the general fund. It's important that you look down through each individual category to see where the increases are. We've got funds that have been escrowed and set aside for particular reasons. We have construction funds that we're holding this year that we were not at this time last year. Food service fund is up a little bit from this time over last year, so those line items are important to compare. I've also added to the bottom of that report the funds that we have assigned for particular upcoming projects, so we can keep track of all of the different categories. If you'll notice at the bottom, the $160,000 that we have slated for baked roof, that will be moved out and over to that project into the construction funds in the month of September. So that $642 will decrease in the month of September. And also the $53,191 will decrease by $15,875 to finish off the baked roof project. So that amount will decrease. Any questions about those set-aside funds? And if you notice on the committed Kisbet line item, it is down to $109,000. In prior months, that had been at $135,000, and we made our first payments during the month of August. So those funds have been reduced by our payments of $25,000. Over on the expenditure report, I just wanted to point out, if you look in the expended this month column, the fund transfer of $204,000, been given explanation on that. That's where we moved $150,000 worth of funds from the reserve to our iFunds project. So it flows through a code called fund transfer in order to get those over. And then we had $50,000 worth of debt service payments. They also go through that code called fund transfer and get moved over to a debt service payment fund. So because that was so much larger than last year, I just wanted to give an explanation on that. Any questions?
Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, all in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Payment of invoices, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the September board bills as submitted.
Second. Any questions? No questions about the bills? All right,
No, just standard bills, don't have any comments.
okay. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Approval of the working budget for 14-15, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve of the 2014-15 working budget as submitted.
Second.
Comments?
I will review it briefly. We did hit all the details at our work session, and this is our third look at our 14-15 budget. By the time we hit it in January for draft and tentative in May, and then again in September, we have reviewed it multiple times. So we do have a general fund budget this coming year of $20,900,000. We have an increase in our SEEK base funds from the legislature. This year they funded us at $3,911 per student, which is an increase and a welcome change from what we've had in prior years, where we've had multiple decreases over the past several years. So that was an increase of $84 per student and an overall increase for us of about $134,000. With that came a 1% mandate salary increase for our staff. So that increase this year did cover the salary mandate increase. Next year, we will have a slight increase on our SEEK base, but it will not cover the salary mandate that's planned at this time, which is 2%. So we've got that to look forward to in 15-16. On the revenues, just to point out, we had the increase in SEEK. Then we do have our property tax 4% revenue increase. That will help balance our expenditures for the year. Some of the highlights on expenditures, we do have debt service payments in general fund that fund our energy bonds from 2006 project, and then we have 6 bus units that we're paying for with debt service payment funds from general fund. And so those amount to, for this year, $305,000 from general fund. The budget highlights by school, I do want to just point out that 71% of our total budget is spent on instruction, and 59% of the budget is controlled by the site-based councils. They make their decisions on what staff positions they want to create in their buildings, or how they want to spend their Section 6 funds. So 59% is controlled by site-based council. 72% of the budget is spent in salaries and benefits, and a healthy district will operate with salaries and benefits somewhere between 71 and 75%, somewhere in that neighborhood. If we take a look at Fund 2, those are our restricted funds. That's where we account for federal grants and state grants and other private grants. So with this year from the state, we do have a little welcome relief. Our textbooks have been increased from $0 to $46,000, and that textbook grant does fund K through 8 textbooks. ESS had an increase in professional development and Safe Schools. Our federal grants are holding about the same. as prior year. We did receive one new grant, the PEP grant, that will be with us for about 3 years, and that totals $851,000 for a 3-year period. But this year we have $379,000. If we take a look at the next page of capital outlay funds, we have $160,000, and that is available for capital projects since we will not have a new bond issued before the end of June 30th. Building fund, we will be using $497,000 first for debt service, and that leaves us a balance of $102,000 for capital projects. In the month of October, we will bring back to the board, hopefully the work session, a needs assessment, so we can start to apply these funds with capital needs across the district. And that's all the highlights really that I want to bring to your all's attention, unless you have some particular questions that you think I need to hit. It's a good balanced budget, we're in good shape, we're sound financially, and doing well.
I appreciate all the work, both from your office and throughout central office, throughout the entire district, to bring that salary and benefits number back into a very sound position. It had kind of creeped up and got a little high in years past, so I appreciate the work that went into that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the working budget. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Agenda item 9, staffing. Is there a motion?
Make a motion we approve of the new positions as submitted.
Second. Any questions about these new positions?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that receptionist at Miss Trace Luber Market.
Yeah, I can share a little information on that. The Child Development Center went through some reorganization of their administrative positions, and the person that had served in that role before as a marketing director handled all the administrative tasks for the market. She is now the director of the center. So this position just gives her some administrative help, some clerical help throughout the week. Since we're the fiscal agent for Child Development Center, all of their positions come through the board for approval. So it's funded by Child Development Center,
Okay.
not by the district.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
good.
Right. And it's just a part-time position to help them.
Okay, and then I guess the special ed position just turned out to need to be a full-time position? Or
Right.
just a part-time?
At the work session, I had mentioned that either 8/10 or 1.0,
Okay.
and after looking at the numbers, the number of students that have enrolled at Hogsett, there's a need to increase that to full-time.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thanks, Greg. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Salary schedule revision. Is there a motion?
Make a motion we approve of the salary schedule revision for the PEP grant evaluator position, $14,700 as submitted.
Second. Any questions, Ms. Cannon? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Agenda item 11 is the Tolliver Project BG1. Is there a motion?
Make a motion we approve of the Tolliver Project BG1 as submitted.
Second.
Any questions? Comments?
I'll review the finance page since we had a revision from the working session.
Okay.
On the right-hand side of the funding page, the SFCC cash requirements, I had to increase that amount by about $1,100 due to interest that we allocated to funds that had been escrowed for the next construction project. So, and then the other two line items, the SFCC bond sale, those are bonds that we issue based on School Facilities Construction Commission offers. So those are funds that the state will pay for us on our behalf. And then the $7.2 million is a local bond sale based on funds we have available in capital outlay and building fund. We have for to make payments on $7.2 million. And then the $550,000, comes from our set-asides, from general fund on our balance sheet, for a total project of $12.9 million.
Any questions? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Tolliver Project Architect Agreement. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve of the Tolliver Project Architect Agreement as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or comments? We're staying with Ron and
Ross Terra.
Ross Terra, right? Yeah, the same motion to the windows. Okay. No questions? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 13 is the purchase of a bus.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bus purchase as submitted.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
This is two
Two
buses
buses.
for the school year, and they are in the budget. We just have to have line item board approval. Kentucky Department of Education.
Any questions? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve of all the consent agenda items as presented without discussion.
Second.
All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. There is a need for an executive session to discuss
This be pending litigation.
pending litigation.
This is a motion we would want be made pursuant to 61.810(1)(c) for discussion of pending litigation. For public discussion might compromise the board's litigation position.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we approve, that we enter into executive session in accordance with KRS 61.810, section 1C, for the purposes of discussing pending litigation.
Second.
All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We will go into executive session. I suppose we'll go, is the computer room open? We will go there. I do not anticipate any action after the executive session, but we will return to open session.